Well, as one that's interested mostly in nature, I try to weave that in somehow to draw the land in the background, the land cover, whether it's a forest or grasslands or desert type vegetation, and the particular geology that underlays everything else, and then to try and mention at least briefly some details of the natural history. I try to weave that into the text. And on my magnum opus, my big fold-out map, which I started in '87 and finished in '92, that has a lot of information about the geology and the biology, the plants and animals along the road. And that's what I try to show, except some of my postcard views, of course, there's not room for that. It's dominated just by a single structure. And I've started new series which have nothing to do with nature, but my number one objective, as a part of looking out for number one myself, is to, in order to avoid getting a real job, I have to continue to produce artwork. So I've started these series of postcards, one with Harley Davidsons on Route 66, Volkswagens on Route 66, and Mustangs on Route 66, just to diversify somewhat without abandoning 66, knowing that that's the magic, that's the ticket right there, 66. So I'm posing all of these new views of Harleys and cars along Route 66. And I'm going to redo my color map of Route 66 completely from scratch. So I again will try to emphasize the nature and natural history along the road on that new map. And one of my slogans is try to drive when you can at sublethal speeds to butterflies, which means 20 or 25 miles an hour. You're going over 20 or 25, it's injurious to butterflies. At a slower speed, they just kind of brush against the windshield and go over. And there are actually a number of stretches where you can safely putt along really slowly. But I would encourage anybody doing a 66 trip, if they don't have time to slow down on their trip, try to go back sometime and travel a short distance very slowly. And not only stop frequently and get out and stretch your legs, but stop and go for a hike, or better yet, take a bicycle along and bicycle. And of course, most people that travel 66, they patronize. That's very important, and I would encourage people to patronize the proprietors along 66, which I do a little bit with the food, but I stay in my van. I never stay in motels, and when I do, it's free. I never have to pay for a motel room, but I would encourage others, if they're not camping, stay in 66 motels. And if you're worried about seeing roaches, get a can of Raid. Take along a can of Raid. So if you see a roach and it bothers you, give it a squirt. Or better yet, scoop it up in a cup, toss it outside. I like to let roaches live.